This isn't a steak. Why would you call it that on your menu?
I don't know what to tell you, man.
Just give me all the bacon and eggs you have. Wait. I worry what you just heard was, give me a lot of bacon and eggs. What I said was, give me all the bacon and eggs you have. Do you understand?
Well, what's going on, Dave?
First time it's done that. Nothing, man. It's cool, man. We got some winter finally.
Yeah, we got a little cold weather, didn't we?
I like it, though. I like it.
Yeah. I wish the ducks would like it. I went hunting last weekend, and we killed 2. And we didn't see hardly anything.
I had a buddy of mine in Illinois hunt today. I think they got 5 or 6 today.
I think the ducks are still up a little farther north.
Well, they need to be pushed down then.
Yeah, they do. Well, Dave, we got a pretty cool guest coming up here in a little bit, but I guess we also maybe we can talk about it after we get your guest on. But looks like Bass has announced the 2018 Elite roster.
Well, I saw FLW announce their roster.
Yeah, it looks like they're both kind of coming out.
Let's see, I haven't seen the Bass email yet. I got the FLW earlier, and I was going through it to see who's who and who's doing what and who's going where.
Mm-hmm. I haven't had a chance to look at it. I just noticed that the link was out there today. I've been kind of tied up at work. Maybe we can go over it here later.
Yeah, I went through it a while ago, and I noticed a few elite names making the switch over.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that means they unqualified themselves. Clint Davis.
Back to FLW?
Yeah, Clint Davis is back. Morgan Taylor's back. John Hunter's going FLW.
Yeah.
I had him wrote down at one time. Kobe Krieger's going back to LW. Lineberger. I had him wrote down earlier now. I don't know what I did with it. Let's see.
Yeah, you showed me a few.
Niggemeyer switched over.
Yeah, I thought that might happen.
Yeah, he had a couple bad back-to-back years there.
Yeah.
There's more in there. I'm just not. J. Todd took a year off. He's going to FLW. I was thinking there was 5. There was like 7 or 8 now when I scanned through there. Oh, Brett Pruitt, he's going FLW.
Yeah. I saw JT
Couple.
Kenny's going to Major League Fishing.
I heard about that earlier. Brett Myers was another big name. Brett Myers going FLW. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Interesting indeed.
That's what happens.
Yep. I mean, they're all quality fishermen. It's just tough.
I do like the perform and you're fine, don't, and we got to talk.
Yeah.
I like that. I mean, that's what happens in the majors and any other big deal.
I agree.
You know. Yeah, I haven't even read down the elite field yet. Let's see.
Let me message our guest, see if he's ready.
Yeah, do that real quick. Paul Elias is going to be the legend status. David Fritz, a legend status.
Oh, slipping back in again, huh?
Yeah, I would say this is probably, if they don't perform this year, I'd say that'd probably be over. What's the Strader? Randy Sullivan?
Randy Sullivan?
Yeah, I don't think it's the same one, man.
Oh, okay. Wait, he's going to elites? That Randy, the Open Randy Sullivan?
Yeah, he got his tickets. He took it. Yeah. Yeah, there's a few rookies here and there.
Okay.
Rick Morris is back in.
Let's put that on hold and get your guest on. I've got him.
Let's do it.
Got him waiting here. All right. Add him to the group call. I'll let you do a little introduction.
Hey, Matt, David.
We got the one and only Brad.
Yep.
All right.
How are you all?
Oh, not bad. Well, let me introduce you a little bit, Brad. We are doing a little bit different guest tonight. Brad, you are the co-founder or co-owner of the new outdoor sharing your pics app called GoWild. Is that right?
Yep.
All right. So you need to go to your iTunes store or your Google Play and download GoWild is what it's called, right?
Well, now we're just in iTunes right now, so the Google Play will come out in probably the beginning of March or so.
Oh, okay. I tried to find that earlier and couldn't see it on my Google Play.
Yeah, not quite done. We're still really new.
So
I think it's a neat deal. It's kind of like an Instagram, but without the drama.
Yeah, that's a big part of it, man. And we've got some other cool stuff. We didn't want to build just an Instagram for the outdoors, for example. We really wanted to have some unique things. So, the trophy system's really cool. We're doing giveaways unique to the outdoors. All your trophies saved right there to your profile. So it's a quick way to understand it's Instagram for the outdoors, but it definitely goes a little deeper than that.
And it's a whole lot less hashtag filled, it feels like.
Yeah, definitely not as oriented around that. We actually built something that's a little more similar. People that have used Reddit will like it, and people that haven't like it too. They just don't associate it with Reddit in the same way. But that Explore page, you can dig in and really find topics that you want to follow. So you guys might like bass fishing, for example, and I might like catfishing. So we wouldn't necessarily have to see the same content because we can follow what we call trails. You can follow different content topics, which makes it pretty cool because it's really customizable to what you want to experience.
Oh, so we can weed through all the bikini fishing pictures and all that?
That's right.
Get those out of there, or get them if you want to. I guess if you want.
Or yeah. I guess we need a bikini fishing trail to enable that. But there's not as much of that going on as Instagram, which maybe I just lost interest of everyone listening. I don't know. It depends on your audience.
Yeah, I don't know. You might have picked some up.
Because I'm thinking like 95% of them things are photoshopped anyway.
I always laugh. A lot of these Instagram influencers, a lot of them are legitimate, but some of them are, you can tell they went out and did a photo shoot for one day that they're going to use for the rest of the quarter.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's like there is no freaking way that happened. You're trying to really make me believe that.
Yeah. Well,
so I'm on the app right now, and I'm on like the far left bottom button where everything scrolls through. So the next button is like where you hit your trail thing at.
Yeah, that's your trail mix. So we call that first tab you're talking about your trail mix. That's where all of the trails you follow, it's all getting mixed in together. So I pulled my app out here. I'm looking, a lot of fishing stuff coming through. I'm seeing a funny meme about hunting posted in the hunting trail. Target shooting, that you can log time in the app, which is pretty cool. All of that stuff's going to hit your trail mix. And then when you go into that second tab, the compass, that's where you can see those topics. And really, if you wanted to look at just fishing, for example, you can drill into that trail. And then you can also unfollow at that point, too. Because within our setup process, we really wanted to build an app. Right now, if you sign up for Twitter, for example, they really harp on you to make you follow people. And we didn't want to build an app that would have to make you do that. We don't want to harass you to get you enough content to make the app enjoyable. So if you notice when you signed up, we ask you what you like to do. So hunting, fishing, or the outdoors. So based on what you select, we pre-populate content for you, and a lot of that's based off of what you see on that Explore tab. So, for example, hunting, and elk hunting are going to populate for you based off of the fact that you told us you like to hunt. But predator hunting is also going to populate, and maybe, that's a controversial topic, and a lot of hunters don't actually support it. So maybe they'll go in and say, you know what, I'm just not really into that. I'm going to unfollow that trail. No worries, you're not going to see any more coyote hunts or wolves or whatever. Anything that's posted in that trail is going to go away.
Cool.
Yeah, it seems like there was a lot of backlash from the social media community and with hunters, male and female, posting their kills on social media. It seems like some people just didn't want to see that.
It's only getting worse, man.
Yeah.
It's only getting worse. I try always not to name platforms that have deleted stuff. I'll try to censor myself as much as I can here, but I know several people that have had accounts that have. Well, I know a couple particularly that had their entire account deleted, and we're talking. One guy had 150,000 followers on a platform, and he posted some. Actually, it was fish. Believe it or not, it wasn't even hunting. And
Oh, wow.
I guess that was it. That was the last straw for that platform.
Straw that got
they
him.
deleted his account. But now I've known several people that have posted stuff and it gets deleted. Actually, on the Instagram account for GoWild, see, I already did it. Outed myself. But we've had content deleted from Instagram. It gets reported, and then they look at it, and then there's an assessment of it, and they say it violates their community guidelines. I've read their guidelines. There's nothing in there that says hunting, so it's just someone's personal opinion at that point of whether or not they approve of it. And if you haven't been exposed to it, it's you're basing your opinion of hunting or fishing on what you've heard from other people, the news, or your own echo chamber, the people that you hang out with. So you're never getting an accurate portrayal of what it's about. So you got people making decisions on content that they don't understand. And a lot of the content gets censored. I don't know if you guys are on Instagram, you've seen stuff get censored. And really a lot of the top digital platforms for even advertising have policies against hunting or firearms or knives, and it's just gotten to be such a tough road to even advertise your product if you're an ad, or to tell your story if you're a hunter. So we really offer people a place to come, and like you guys said, you can post freely and you get supported instead of worrying about if your account's going to get taken down.
I think that's awesome. That's something we need these days. Even the gun, the gun enthusiasts are getting hammered on a lot of their posts and getting censored. YouTube is demonetizing a lot of these gun enthusiasts and sport enthusiast hunters, fishermen, demonetizing their videos, sort of putting like a peer pressure, so to speak, on videos with that kind of content. And there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, I've seen some things come across on Instagram that I cannot believe would get by their censors.
Right.
As far as just lewd content. So,
right.
This sounds like a great idea for advertisers in the fishing sporting industry to come here and actively be involved with people of like mind and similar
right.
backgrounds.
And that's part of what I tell. Honestly, we weren't even planning on trying to acquire any advertisers early. We really wanted to build a good product and get users in the app, but out of the gate, we started getting inquiries, and we just signed a pretty big deal with several advertisers who are coming on for next year before we've even really. I mean, we have a really strong user base so far, but it's nothing when you start to look at like the millions and millions of users on an Instagram, for example. They obviously have us beat on the audience, but what we have is a really passionate group, and I've already built some case studies. Our group is also really more engaged than what you're going to get on certain other platforms. We've run several giveaways within our app, and toe to toe, our group is outperforming it because it's a very invested group. They're people that are there because they're passionate about these topics. So when you put your product in front of them, they're there to learn more about this thing. So if you're, this lifestyle. So if you're putting a product in front of them that relates to it, they don't feel like they're being advertised to. They feel like it's an opportunity to learn. And that's part of how we're building our advertising too. I don't want it to be pop-up ads and display ads that are annoying. Our advertising platform is actually going to be educational. So brands, in order to advertise to people, will have to get on board with that. And it's actually more effective. It's better for the advertiser. I come from a digital advertising background, and it has proven to convert better, but it's better really for the consumer too, because you get to learn about a product before you buy it instead of just, click here, buy here. That's not building a relationship. So, and then the final part of that I tell people is you can give your money to somebody else who is actively working to shut down your industry. They're blocking your ads, they're censoring your content, or you can give it to us and help the future learn how to do this better. And that's really where it's at is, if we don't bring more people into hunting and help this grow, where do you think the funding comes from for conservation efforts, for wildlife protection? All that's from, the tags we're all buying and the taxes we all pay when we buy guns and so forth. So, it's really our responsibility to help bring up this next generation. And I think you look at how active we actually, a big part of our audience is 11 to 16 years old, I would guess. And when you look at how active they are on social media, we're better to help them learn than a social media app dedicated to hunting and fishing.
I like probably the part I like about it the most. I've been on it probably a couple months now, just kind of browsing and getting involved a little bit. What I like about it most is just a bunch of regular Joes that like to go out and share what they did. You see a lot of got my first buck, or I got my first, caught my first trout, and it's a lot of that new stuff, and it's kind of relaxing because it's not everybody trying to be a professional or shove their particular 20% discount product down your throat. It's just regular Joes having fun.
Right. And I totally agree with you, and it's funny because I started this thing. I don't claim to be a pro. I definitely am not. Part of why I realized that there was no such thing was I was trying to learn more about deer hunting. I'd been doing it for, I don't know, 6 or 7 years, 5, 6, 7 years. I haven't really kept track of what the number was, but I realized that I wasn't a good deer hunter. I was just hunting with a good deer hunter. And at that point, I started trying to teach myself, and I'm like, man, there are no good resources or communities to really help you do this on your own. So we launched GoWild. I'll fast forward a year. We launched GoWild, and real quickly we had a guy join, and he starts telling his story within the app. And you may have even seen this guy. He starts telling his story, and he's like, hey, never hunted before. I wanted to learn more about it. Saw this ad for the app, downloaded it. Here I am. And then, a few days go by, and he's asking for advice on what weapon he should buy. Like, should I get a bow? Or, he's getting advice. And you would think, I see this stuff on Instagram, and sometimes these guys that only have 100 followers, you might get one comment on something or two. But the way we built our app, your content goes in front of anybody that's looking at it. That's the beauty of it, is you get a bigger audience with our app, unless you're like a Cameron Haynes who's got 400,000 followers. But most people aren't in that scenario to where they have that kind of audience listening to them. Our app puts you in front of the thousands of followers or thousands of users we have, so you can ask questions and get answers. So this guy's gotten like 10, 15 comments on a lot of his questions. He's asking for advice. And I was talking to him one day about, he's like, hey, I don't have a truck, and so if I get a deer, how am I supposed to handle this? And so everybody's jumping on board, and hey man, you can quarter it up and put it in coolers, or somebody's telling him to buy, the attachment for the trailer hitch. Well, this whole thing, I haven't seen if he's gone hunting. I haven't checked his profile in the past couple of days or seen him pop up. But, the story right now is he bought his bow, got it, all set up for himself. He's been target practicing. He's researching his licenses and everything. It's awesome. And that happened because of our app. And, that was the intent. That was the hope. And that's what we're seeing play out. And I'm with you. It is so much more rewarding to watch these regular Joes doing this stuff for me. As much as I like to watch a lot of these big guys and, these crazy hunts, some of it almost just feels so out of reach. Sometimes it's just nice to see what a regular guy or girl's doing.
I mean, let's face it. There's some dude in Kansas that has 500 acres. He ain't calling me or you to come out there and tag the big trophy on his farm. So to see a kid get his first buck and it's a 6-pointer, and it ain't very big. I think that's a whole lot better than somebody trying to get just the right angle or getting just the right light and then, using 85 hashtags to make sure all them companies see that they use their particular knock or arrow or string or whatever it is. But speaking of that same thing, there was a guy I saw last week, I think it was a teenager, got his first bait caster and goes, I got one, but now what do I do? And there was probably 20 of us that replied, hey, get your breaking set. Don't go fishing with it. Go to your backyard. Go get used to it first.
Man,
I think it's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's what it's all about. I love seeing the individual stories and seeing what people are posting, and like you said, seeing how people interact with folks like that.
Yeah, I saw one today. A kid said, I was in a bass tournament. I thought I had a big one, but I come to find out it was a carp, and I couldn't use it. I thought, no way. Not everybody, on other social medias, he would get blasted for that. But everybody else was like, you know what? Hang in there, man. Catch the right one. It's no big deal. Anywhere else, he would have got 8 alive.
It's funny, man. I just looked up. There's actually quite a few of those kind of posts on the bait casters of people asking for advice on them. The point you hit on the 6 points and even the spikes. I'm seeing a lot of and does, man. Like I've only seen one time somebody said something snarky to somebody about shooting something small or a spike or something. I didn't even see it. One of my co-founders was telling me about it. And, the way we built the community self-regulates. I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a report button and there's a downvote button. So we put that downvote button in there with intent. Part of that is to help us keep an eye on stuff that the community does not favor. People have always joked on Facebook for years, like, we should have a dislike button if we can have a like button. Well, we did it. And part of that helps us keep track of stuff that's inappropriate. We are monitoring a little tighter than I always tell people, I'm not your forum for your First Amendment rights. If you're not here to get on board with conservation efforts, you can get out. So, we did that because I don't want the greenies coming in and, this is animal cruelty. You guys should be ashamed of yourself. So we have a pretty complex system for you can either report or downvote, and downvoting doesn't out of the gate send us a message, but it lets the community voice their opinion without notifying somebody. That person's not going to get a notification that you downvoted it, but after they start to see like, 3 or 4 or 5 people downvoted my comment, maybe that was kind of a crappy comment to say to that guy. Well, I've only seen that once, but it was funny because the community jumped on it. And they're like, hey, man, that's not cool. This guy, you should be proud of what you did. First year, that's great. A lot of adults got skunked this year, and they didn't get anything, so you should be proud. It's really a tight-knit group, and they'll jump in and defend each other, which has been really cool for us to watch. Like, we have this system for handling those moments, but we haven't even really had to jump into too much.
Can you downvote Alabama fans like a double downvote?
You can downvote and then undownvote and downvote again if that brings you joy.
Okay. It's like 2 negatives don't make a positive.
Wait a minute, Matt. Wait just a daggone minute. You just said you want to downvote an Alabama fan, but you just got one of their coaches. You can't have it both ways.
Hey, he's a Tennessee guy now. He's no longer Alabama guy.
You can't have it both ways. All you Bama haters have got to quit because now you got one of them. Now you is one.
He's no longer a fan now. He's a Tennessee fan.
All right, then.
He's converted.
Oh, my gosh.
So you're saying the tides have changed.
Right. No more Tide.
Oh, shots fired. So you're in Louisville, Brad. Where's your other dude at? Like, is there more than 2?
There's a bunch of us, man.
Okay.
We've got 6 of us here in Louisville. I've got our CFOs up in Indianapolis, and then we've got contractors all over the country that have helped us with video and the marketing and web development. But the core co-founders are here in Louisville. Actually, Zach would correct me and say that he is in Southern Indiana. But the 4 of us are here. This thing was founded last December, almost exactly a year ago. We had our first co-founder meeting, and started with 4 of us, and then over time we've picked up people to help with marketing and finances, and then you all might be familiar. I think I actually talked to you, David, about John before. John, who I couldn't get on tonight, he's down in Louisiana fishing, but John's a Bassmaster Elite Series pro, and he and I met through kind of a funny journey. I've known his dad for years, and I got wind that he had been interested in starting a hunting app, and he's just such an entrepreneur. He's always looking for his next project, and he also fishes, 2/3 of the year professionally. But I got wind that he was wanting to do something, so I approached him, and we started talking, and we hit it off really well. So we actually have a very, very legit, one of the best fishermen in the world, and then very legitimate big game hunter. He goes out west, and he just started hunting elk out west, and he hunts whitetail here in Kentucky. He's got a 5,000-acre farm out in eastern Kentucky that he hunts. So John's been a really good addition to us, but primarily here in Louisville. John would also correct me and say he's in Shelbyville, which I believe one of you all. Are you guys both in Lexington? Or
no, I'm the one. I'm David. I'm the one in Lexington. I can't believe that I missed. I saw John had something somewhere that y'all had some kind of release party at a place probably less than 5 miles from my house at a bar and grill down the road. And I wish I'd have got it in time. I'd have been there.
Yeah, man, we were at Elkhorn.
Yeah.
It's funny that that was happenstance too. My buddy Blake said, dude, my friend Dom over at Elkhorn runs is in a fishing group. This place is like a hunting lodge. I got to hook you all up and see if you could do a kickoff party here. So we got to talking, and it just made sense. And we thought we were just going to show up and have, maybe 20 or 30 people come through, even if they were coincidentally drinking there anyways. But I think we had 200 people come through for that thing. It was incredible.
Oh wow, that's in a pretty neat part of town that they've kind of revitalized that area, and it's a pretty cool little area.
Yeah, it is. That was not there when I was in college at UK.
No, that place is probably the last 5 years and probably the last 3. It's really got a new facelift.
Yeah, Lexington's changing so much. It's really fun to watch. But yeah, John came on probably right before that because I actually right in sync with it. It was pretty much like that same week that we finally got the paperwork done for John because he's been a busy dude. He's worked with one of our competitive app on the fishing side, and then they were a sponsor of his on when he was a fisherman, and then he's still got companies he's working on. He's got such a drive to him, and then between his hunting and then the fishing, he is nonstop. That's like right now I don't even really know what he's doing in Louisiana. He just kind of like randomly told me, he's like, oh yeah, I'm down in Louisiana fishing redfish. I think he's doing it for fun with one of his sponsors, or maybe he's making videos. I don't know. He's one of the busiest people I know.
Well, that's a pretty cool deal. Yeah, you've done a little bit of work with Cable Smith with Lone Star Outdoor, have you?
Yeah, man. We did an interview with Cable back in September, and I'm going to go back on. Actually, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have John go back on there and talk to Cable, because me and Cable were talking when I was on there, and I told him I'd come back and talk to him when we get the Android app up. But I think it'd be fun to have, because Cable loves to fish too, I think it'd be fun to have John go in there and talk fishing with him. So we'll probably do that. But man, Cable's a great dude. You want to talk about somebody that's had some content deleted, go talk to Cable, because it's happened to him.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Dude,
I was just talking to him. Yeah, it's unreal.
Yeah, the first thing I ever saw about is like, cover your eyes or something on Instagram. I'm like, what? Cable ain't doing nothing wrong. There's so many snowflakes out there reporting. He just needs to block everyone he sees, I guess.
Dude, some of it I don't understand. Once you get meat from let's say a deer cut down to a certain point, it looks pretty much like any steak. It doesn't have as much fat, but the what it is looks like any other type of meat before you cook it. And that when that kind of stuff starts to get reported, I'm like, what a double standard that you say that cut of meat is okay, but this cut of meat's not okay because that person decided to do it for themselves. So you're really saying that you don't like how I acquired my meat, so therefore you're going to report it. But, the guy that bought his steaks at the grocery store that touched 50 sets of hands before it got to me and was injected with chemicals and didn't have a natural diet, that one was okay. It doesn't compute for me.
Yeah, I saw some Twitter. I don't. I guess it was a real tweet. Somebody had posted something about. I guess they posted a picture of a deer, and somebody said, "I can't believe you would be cruel to these innocent animals. Why don't you go to the grocery store and get your meat like everybody else, where those animals aren't hurt or harmed or whatever?"
Yeah, dude. I had somebody comment on our Instagram the other day, and I don't combat with them. I always keep it calm, but I do like to talk to them because sometimes I want to learn more about it. Sometimes that when they're cool and level headed, I get my perspective opened up, but I always want to open up them to a fresh perspective too. So I try to be really reasonable with them. And this lady the other day, she told me that she came in the whole same theory, and she said, "Well, you don't need to add to the killing. They're already available at the grocery store, and you could just use those animals." And I said, "Wait, I don't understand. Like, how in the world does that logic make sense?" And I even went through and deer are killing 200 people a year. They kill more people a year than sharks. Working her through the logic of these aren't innocent animals. They do billions of dollars of property damage. They cost people lives every year. The populations have to be managed. So if anything, you owe me a thank you for not doing it. At the grocery store, and just she couldn't get over the logic. It's like they can't be rational and talk to somebody without the emotions. And I just again cannot compute of how you can be so. And I say this term ignorant, but I don't mean it as an insult. It's just truly ignorant. Like their brain is not capturing the information.
No, they never were taught how to think critically either. I don't believe.
Right.
Well,
that's absolutely
the thing about it is they were killed in the grocery store. They were killed in God's grocery store.
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
Come on, let's get right. I mean, people. I just don't understand. I mean, it's ridiculous. They're here for us to eat and enjoy is why they're here. No other.
Right.
That's in writing.
And if you want to talk about the pain and suffering of the animal, I mean, and I don't mean to put down all farmers, but we all know that a lot of these mass farmed animals are not living good lives. The buck I harvested this year, up until the moment he died, was living the dream. Happy as clam, and he died quickly. It was a nice ethical kill, very quick. I'm the only person that ever touched him, and I know exactly. I got it thawing out right now on my counter, actually, and I know exactly where that cut came from, and I can serve that to my family in full confidence. And that's not something I can go to the store and grab a brisket or a steak or whatever and say that, unless you're buying it from a farm and the farmer that raised it. That's not a experience that anybody else is going to be able to say. And even if you do know the farmer, I try to explain this to people. There's no way even if you do know the farmer, that you can have the experience that I had when I harvested my animal, because and you all know this, there's a remorse about it. I do feel bad for a minute, but it very quickly becomes about it's butchering, and I'm providing meat for my family. And that's something that no one's going to understand until they've done it. And they don't, people, and probably for good reason, some of this is for good reason. People have gotten associated with trophy killing, and I do think that some of the past of how hunting's been presented, either by us or however, talking about even all these big buck videos that are even stereotypically in people's heads. Some of that stuff has contributed to the way people perceive hunting today, but that's not how most people see it. It's really about an acquisition of a food source. And yeah, obviously I like to harvest a mature animal because that's also better for the population, but I don't think people understand that until they've done it. And it is a hard thing to explain. So when you do get in those debates, it's hard to tell people, well, I didn't do this maliciously or just to kill something. And I did have a feeling of regret at a point. I mean, you have that. That's natural because you watch it as it dies. But, very quickly it becomes about the meat.
Yeah, it seems like with every generation, just every decade that goes by, it seems like more and more people are disconnected from the land. They're more degrees away from their food source, and whether it's grains, vegetables, or animals. I think, what is it now? 2%, only 2% of the population are actually farmers in this country, but they provide, so much of the food. And those farmers, I grew up out in the country, and, granddad raised animals, and we hunted on the land, we hunted around the land and had a connection to it and sustained ourselves through it. And more and more people now, even though they do hunt, they're not actually there on the land all the time. They may just go to a public land or something, but they still understand the meaning of going out and harvesting an animal for themselves or for their family. And a lot of people say, well, you don't need to go out anymore. You can go to the grocery store. But there's something about being connected to the land, having a connection there and respecting it. Like you said, it's not just going out and killing just for the sake of killing. Even if it's trophy hunting, you have a connection there that you understand what, you're taking an animal's life, but you're doing so responsibly, and you're benefiting from it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I actually have a theory that if we could ever get all the vegans and hunters in a room, they'd realize that they agree with each other for about 80% of their lifestyle. It really just comes down to, the food, but, what's a vegan, one of their number one priorities is to get people to stop consuming irresponsibly. And a hunter who has had that feeling of remorse stops consuming irresponsibly. I mean, I tell people all the time, I joke about my wife buying those Costco chickens at $5 a pop. They're so cheap. She doesn't think about the fact that it's like, oh, it's cheap meat. It's cheaper than lunch meat. If we don't use it all, it's okay. It was such a good deal. And, I tell her almost every other week if I have to throw anything extra out that could have been eaten, I say, oh, it just pains me to throw this away. I was like, she says, it was just $5. I was like, no, it was a life. That was something that was walking around a few weeks ago. And now we $5 pop and we're going to buy another one. That type of thinking of it that way happens with hunters. It doesn't happen with people that haven't done it before. So a vegan, and I have friends that are vegan, by the way. I'm not picking on them at all, but a lot of the really passionate debates that I get into, they think that hunters are the worst people on the planet, and how could you enjoy killing? And I once I get into that point, I've actually had several. I've had about 5 or 6 people, which is, for the amount of people I've had this debate with, is really small, but it's worth it to get those wins. I've had them say, you know what, you're right. You all you understand it better than anybody else. I mean, if you want to talk about people irresponsibly buying things, just like you all said, going to the grocery store and just motoring through the aisle, grabbing burger meat, which has, I think, what's it got, 100 cows a burger, I think is what I've heard, once it all gets ground up and they test it and all that stuff. That's where you're not thinking about it. If you want to be a responsible consumer, go get your own meat, and then you realize what has to happen to get that meat on the table.
Well, all I know is I've got to go get some more ducks, Matt, because my duck nuggets I made the other night were an absolute hit. I don't know who ate them quicker, me or my oldest daughter. She's like, when are you going hunting again to get some more ducks? Man, I found this batter, Kroger. I forget the name of it, but man, and I think the key is I soaked that duck in buttermilk for 2 days, and I think that was the key to the flavor. Man, they were absolutely fantastic.
Mm-hmm. I've heard that on several game meats, that soaking it in buttermilk can really help.
Yeah. I think the thickness of that buttermilk, plus it draws it out. Man, they were fantastic.
Yeah. There's another application to your app there.
Yeah. Yeah, we have recipes, and, part of what we looked at what was being done, and there were a couple, when we first started this whole thing, there were really one or two other apps that were doing this. And, I'm coming from digital marketing and a web design creative agency. And so was one of my co-founders, and we're like, man, we can do better than that. So we set out and we started looking at what everybody else was doing, and nobody's touching recipes, which to me was strange. So we started working on what that would look like. And I've worked with guys. I've talked to Jeremiah Dowdy a lot. I don't know if you are familiar with him, but he's pretty well known. From Field to Plate, you might know his handle on social media. Jeremiah runs the From Field to Plate blog. He's sponsored by Mossy Oak. I've worked a lot with Dan Danielle Pruitt, who runs Wild and Whole, a food blog, and I got their opinions on the app. You know, we used them as beta testers on the app and got them in there and looking at how we were presenting recipes and how that functionality was like, trying to get feedback from wild game chefs early. And, you know, it's been a big focus of us. John Weepfley, up in Minnesota, he's a chef, just released a book called Venison, and partnered with him to give away 3 or 4 copies of his book to our users, and really focusing on recipes. And here's why my focus is I have 2 reasons for this. I just really want to help people start enjoying things beyond wrapping it in bacon and beyond, you know, and I'm guilty, guys. I've definitely done it. I've wrapped my share of dove meat in bacon for sure, and even venison poppers or whatever it is. It's a great way to do it, but I really want to help people figure out, like, man, this is such a good meat that you can do so much with. You know, Hank Shaw's book, for example, the barbacoa recipe in there is just so different from, or his, he's got a Chinese stir fry in there. It's just so good, and it's so different from how people think of eating wild game, you know, to eat this Chinese food. And I want to help people understand that because, you know, A, you just get more enjoyment out of it, but B, and here's our true ulterior motive, if I can get people to cook their wild game meat better, they're going to bring people with them into the outdoors. And I just had this experience personally. So I started bringing food to work, and I was bringing leftover venison. And over time, my coworker would smell it and say, "What's that?" And then I'd tell her, "Hey, this is deer meat, actually." And she'd say, "No way. The deer doesn't smell like that. It doesn't smell good." And so I give her a bite here or there, and over, you know, a year of talking to her about this, they move to a place where she says, "Oh, you know what, I could go hunting." And we start talking about the recipes I've done and how you cook it. And through that food, she actually has become interested enough. She just sent me a picture the other day, and it was her husband taking his hunter ed class online. And then she sends me a picture of the new gun they bought, and they're going to go hunting next year. And it all started with that, hey, this is what the meat can be. So once you help people understand, you know, put gamey out of your mind and forget what you know or what you think you know, this is what it really is, then people get interested. And like I said a minute ago, the only way any of this continues is if we're all buying the tags and we're buying the hunting licenses and the guns and everything that gets taxed. So all that money is what's driving the protection of the lands and the animals that we love to see and to enjoy and to harvest for ourselves, you know. So we have to get more people involved. So the recipes are a huge part of that for us. You all mentioned the From Field to Plate movement a second ago, and I think that's going to be one of the biggest reasons we see the younger generation getting involved. I really do. I think that them wanting to know about where their meat source is coming from or what it is, I think that's going to be a big driver of it. And in order to help shepherd that along, we made recipes a huge functionality within the app.
Awesome.
All right, Brian, I got one important question. Me and Matt, Matt's in Tennessee. I'm in Kentucky. I've been a Kentuckian all my life. You're in Jefferson County. I think I know the answer to this. Blue or red?
It's blue, baby.
All right. All right, I was going to ask that at the very beginning, but we got busy talking. I was just making sure.
I grew up, guys. It's funny. I grew up on the state line down in Bell County, so Kentucky-Tennessee state line. So I didn't grow up around the U of L rivalry or even really know it was a thing. Which I think that rivalry got revitalized early in my lifetime. So it really wasn't even as built up as it is today. But, you know, when I grew up, it was Kentucky-Tennessee, man. I mean, that's all anybody talked about on the state line. So I grew up a diehard UK fan. It's the only way they grow them in Bell County. So
you're from Middlesboro?
Yep.
Oh, my gosh. Do you know that one famous radio guy?
Matt Jones, I do know Matt.
He's really.
David is his favorite guy, social media guy.
Oh, yeah?
Back in the day, me and the Matt Jones used to have a few Twitter wars.
Oh. You guys have had a few bouts.
But he's so easy to pick on. I mean, he's not your typical Bell Countian, let's face it.
He's not, and I think he knows that. You know, I've honestly had my own share of conversations with him, I'll say. I used to run the newspaper at UK. I was the editor-in-chief of the college paper, and Matt
Journal?
was just yeah.
Really?
I worked at
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, man. I worked there for 4 years during college, and when I was the editor, let's just say me and Matt had some conversations because their blog was taking off, but still, I would say in its infancy. He had just started getting access to games from press passes, and the how people were handling content. I'll say sharing, but a lot of it, people felt like it was being stolen. How all that was being dealt with, people were still trying to figure that out of like attributions and everything. So he and I had some conversations around that. And I was snooty too. He was coming in and calling himself a journalist, and now I think he would call himself an entertainer and a radio host, which I think he is a good entertainer and radio host. Like his show is. He definitely knows how to build controversy and to tell a story, and he's got a following for a reason. But yeah, it's kind of funny. Our paths have crossed a couple times over the years.
Well, I can tell you one thing: you are not going to cross this path with this app.
Yeah, it's funny. He's got a lot of his advertisers know his audience because you'll hear. I think he even talked that like Kentucky Fish and Wildlife does like a From Field to Fork ad with him, and I'm pretty sure he is not.
Well, they used to, and then like he got to talking about the new governor, then all of a sudden that Fish and Wildlife sponsorship was gone, and I laughed my butt off because I was like, dude, you asked for it, because like he wouldn't do the commercial and then like make fun of people that hunt and fish. I'm like, dude, it's gonna bite you in the butt, and finally it did. And I'm like, you know what? No complaining.
Yeah, I don't listen to his show enough to have put that together, but yeah, probably not a good approach.
Yeah, you can't run down one and expect the other one to still stick around.
Right.
Yeah, that's crazy. Wow, we're from opposite sides of the state. I'm originally from Paducah, and moved up here in 05. So Bell County to McCracken County is probably 7.5 hour drive across the state.
Yeah, I don't
That's
even
a
know
long ways.
I have no idea how you would get there efficiently.
I guess you would go to you can go Bowling Green to Somerset, and then Somerset just head out, go down to Corbin and head over that way.
Yeah, I guess that'd be it.
It'd take you all day.
It would. It really would, man. I've only done that Bowling Green to Somerset drive once or twice. I think I went out and visited Western Kentucky once in high school, just as a college visit, mostly because it was a day out of school. But I just remember that drive not being too fun.
Yeah, it's kind of boring out through there.
Yeah.
Not too bad at all. Well, man, we appreciate the heck out of it. We'll promote your app and tell people to download. So right now it's just iPhone related, and the Android version's coming out, you say March?
Yeah, I'm thinking March. It might be a little bit sooner than that. I keep telling people we'll put it out when we're proud of it. We're working on it now. I've seen some early versions of it. It's looking really good. We did actually, I don't think our iPad app is coming out maybe Thursday. So you can download GoWild on an iPad right now, but it's not the official, it's not built for it. It's like a scaled up iPhone version. So, as of this week, we'll have an iPad app. It's on iPhone, and we'll be in Google Play here in the next couple months. So, we're a small team, so we figured it was best to build one really good app instead of two mediocre ones being a small team. So that's why we did the route we did.
Let me ask you this. Is there any way, I've got my name and I've got the app and it's all for me, like a phone deal. Is there any way that can I add an account and switch back and forth? Because I usually do.
You can. I do it all the time with my app or with my login. I use my personal and I run the GoWild account from my phone too. So it's just a sign in and out process. Now, eventually down the road, we'll probably do what Instagram does where it's an easy, switch back and forth, but we've got so many priorities. That's not really on the radar.
I was going to put one on. I was going to make a GoWild for our podcast, but I didn't know if that was possible. Okay,
so set that up, and it'll ask you first name and last name right now. But we're in the process of making some tweaks because we've had quite a few brands who are wanting to set up their page. So just set it up the best you can figure right now, and we'll make it easier to change in the future. And eventually, we're going to soon disable, your podcast will have a score, but we're going to take that off of there because you won't need that as a brand. But, yeah, go ahead and set it up, man, and start building it out.
Okay. Good deal. I'll get to work on that.
Well, let me ask, this is my last question, and I might be getting way ahead of what you guys are doing, but everybody's going to the live streaming capabilities. Would that be something you could implement?
I'm going to have to plead the fifth on that.
Gotcha.
No, I'll tell you this. We have some really exciting stuff coming out in 2018.
Cool.
Are you guys going to be at any trade shows or anything next year?
Man, what's the big one up in Pennsylvania coming up? The Great American Outdoor Show.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm looking at that one, and then honestly, from there, we're just kind of putting it together. I know we want to do SHOT Show next year, 2019. I couldn't pull it off. That's so far from us, and it's honestly a little bit. I think we actually got approval to get in, and then just with schedules, I think John was fishing a tournament, and it didn't line up with my schedule. But I'm thinking we're probably going to be at the Great American Outdoor Show for one of the weekends. And then we'll find some more shows, and I'm going to start trying to hit up the Kentucky shows pretty consistently, either gun shows or just whatever. But yeah, people will start to see our shirts popping up, and by the end of this year, you'll probably start to see some booths from us, and then we're hoping to have a booth at SHOT Show next 2019. So we'll see.
I'll tell you, a halfway inexpensive one you can do is the East Tennessee Fishing Show. It's in Knoxville. I think it's February.
East Tennessee. All right, I'll look that one up.
Yeah, it's pretty. I think their booths aren't that bad. And if you want to go over to the Bassmaster Classic in South Carolina, get a hold of me. I can tell you how to get credentialed for it.
All right, I'll hit you up. Our marketing director Lauren is pulling together a list right now, so I'll mention it to her.
It's probably too late for next year, but I know places like the ATA show and National Wild Turkey Federation. Usually where they have it, usually at the Opryland Hotel. Those would be some pretty cool places to look forward to seeing you guys too.
Yeah, we'll be popping up. Well, I mean, it's easy to get tickets. Well, and like you said, sometimes that stuff sells out, but it's pretty easy to get tickets to most of these. So at the very least, you'll start to see us there with our shirts. So if you do, if your listeners run into any of our team, I'd invite them to talk to us because we'll have shirts and decals and all that stuff with us.
There you go,
man.
I'm looking forward to it, Brad. I would like to get into an app like that where it's really meant for us hunters and fishermen and, outdoor enthusiasts who, we don't have to weed through all the other stuff that pops up there that's not pertinent to our interests.
Yep. And it's only going to get better, man. I mean, I tell people all the time, if you've got our app on your phone, that we're one of the most aggressive teams on releases. I mean, it's been, with the exception of the last 2 weeks, we've been releasing since September a new version almost every week. And those are not just bug fixes. We're releasing, even if subtle, we're releasing new features, and that'll continue over the next year. Even this new one we're rolling out right now, you pick off things a little bit at a time, things you might take for granted on other apps, but like Facebook login is something we're releasing on this next one. Things like that are really going to make it a better user experience. So you try to pick off those things like that. That's like you got to have them. But then we've also got some really big stuff coming in 2018 that I cannot wait to get a hold of. We just brought on a new developer onto our contracting list last week, so that's going to help us move a lot faster on all these releases. So we got some big stuff coming. And if you guys don't mind, I'm going to plug it to where people know where to go. If you want to learn more, find recipes, or read about the team, or we just released, even some of our videos, we just released a short film about John and his appreciation for the tradition of hunting. All that stuff's available at our website. It's timetogowild.com.
There you go. Time to go wild.com.
Well,
go check it out.
We'll put that in the show notes too to direct everybody there.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
There you go.
Cool, Brad, man. I hope we get you back on again soon, and once you guys start rolling and get it out there,
and learning more about that. It's pretty cool.
Absolutely. Let's we'll plan to do another one, and I'll get John on here, and you guys can talk fishing all day long.
Hey,
absolutely, we can do whatever.
That.
All right, thanks, y'all. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Brad. Take care.
Right.
Yeah, see ya.
See ya. All right, Dave.
little bit different content tonight, Matt, but it's a pretty cool deal. I've been like I said, I've been using the app for about 2 months. I think it's cool as heck. GoWild, GoWild is the name of it, and I think you'll enjoy it. There's all kind of stuff to do. Yeah. But you have to wait, man. You droid people got to wait a little bit. I did not know that going into it, but now we know just droid people have to wait. It'll be all right. It'll be out eventually.
Do you remember back 15 years ago or so, they were talking about how hackers created viruses only for Windows users, and only for Microsoft computers.
Yeah.
Because, 90% of the world used Microsoft and only a handful used Apple products. So it was, you could reach more people and affect more people. I think the tables have turned. I think more people use Apple products now for, especially with phones and stuff.
Yeah, the only Apple product I have is a phone. One of my kids has a mini iPad, but the phones my main work programs I use aren't Apple compatible, so I can't really buy an Apple laptop, but I like the phone. I think it's pretty, if I can use it, I figure anybody can use it. And I know it does 3 million things that I don't know how to use, but as long as I can get the basics, I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to stick with Android. I'm happy with it.
I'm telling you, Matt, Apple's a Kentucky fan, because Apple to Apple, the texts are blue and white. That's my favorite part.
I like to make mine orange.
There you go. Matt, this time last week, the dumpster fire was still blazing, and this week the fire has been put out. I'm proud of you.
I can't believe it. Everything, it's been so crazy that on the same day, December 7th, that was the same day that Tennessee announced the hiring of Lane Kiffin.
You're kidding.
They announced that
Somebody looked it up.
They announced Phil Fulmer was going to be the AD. And then it's kind of ironic that the AD that he replaced, John Curry, who got fired, was part of the group 10 years ago or 9 years ago that tried to get Phil Fulmer fired, actually succeeded in getting him fired. So it's kind of like a weird soap opera that now
sounds like a Jerry Springer show to me.
Uncle Phil is back in charge. And it was like saying peace be still. Everybody just got happy all of a sudden. They backed off the.
That's funny. You made that reference.
They backed
I can't
off.
Believe you went there.
They backed off They backed off the Gay Street Bridge there in Knoxville, and then backed off the bridge and climbed down. And all we need now is we got us a good coach, even though he was from Alabama. He's putting together a pretty good group of coaches and staff. We just need to get that picture of Butchie Boy off the jumbotron.
Okay.
We put Bill Dance up there. I'll be happy with that.
Dude, I can't believe nobody wasn't shooting for that. He's been wearing the hat for 80 years.
I know. Everybody.
Nobody has owned more Tennessee hats than Bill Dance. I guarantee it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't know where he gets them, but he must have a whole box full.
He has a shipment of cases come in, but weird. So, Matt, I'm looking at the 18 Elite roster.
Yeah, let's get into that.
And it appears that Mr. Pipkins had unqualified, but he requalified through the Northern Open. So, way to go, hair product, dude.
Yeah, Chad squeaked in there, didn't he?
He did. He went through he probably saw the writing on the wall and got back in. So, got a few rookies here and there. Strader will not be a rookie due to his income on the other side. But I don't think the rookie class, I don't know much about the rookies coming in. I don't know if it's going to be, I'll guarantee it won't be as stout as this past year's rookie class.
Yeah, but this year was one of them years where I think a lot of guys who were really, truly rookies made their mark.
I tell you, there's two names that stick out on the rookie class this year. Ray Hanselman Jr., obviously from Texas, and Roy Hawk from the West Coast. Those are two guys that they might be contenders. You can't tell.
Yeah, Yeah, Ray Hanselman, we know, we've had him on the show. We know what he is down there at Rayburn.
Oh, dude, dude can catch him.
Didn't he go for 3 for 3 one year?
4 for 4, wasn't it? He won all
maybe.
3, and then he won the championship.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, I'm assuming that's the only time that's ever been done.
It has to be. I've never heard of it happening.
And then he won on the Ohio River of all places.
So I'm scanning down through here. Stetson Blaylock still staying in.
Yeah.
Let's see, Luke Clausen.
Yeah, you know what? That was a name. That's a name I was watching. I thought maybe he would. I'd heard rumors that he was going to jump back, but I guess he didn't.
Yep. Klein, there he is. He said Klein got in through the legend exemption.
So hey, I think he would have been out if it wasn't for the legend exemption.
Yep, Klein and Fritz that I see so far.
And Elias.
Chris Groh, I'm going alphabetically. Chris Groh from Spring Grove, Illinois, Northern Open qualifier. I don't know anything about him.
Don't know nothing about him.
Of course, everybody knows Roy Hawk. He should do pretty good.
Yeah, he's been around a while.
Let me scroll on down here.
Rick Morris getting back in through opens, which
Morris, yeah.
There's another dude from Virginia that's done that. Kurt Dove. He lives in Texas now, but Kurt Dove's been out, back in, and back out. So
Yep.
I saw Dove's name on the FLW sign. So Shyrock's brother Hunter's coming in.
Hunter's coming in through the opens, yeah. Through the Southern Opens of all things too.
Yeah, and that's something.
Mm-hmm. And there's Caleb Summerall, the Bass Nation winner of the. Actually, he's coming in through the Bass Nation, but wasn't he the one that won the All-American? Not the All-American. What did he win out east a while back?
Who you talking about?
Caleb Summerall.
He won the Bass Nation thing.
Okay, maybe that's it. It was Bass Nation, yeah.
So it says BASS Nation right there next to Rookie map.
I thought I'd seen him in another tournament, though.
Oh, I'm sure he fishes more than one.
Bill Weidler?
Yeah, I don't know anything about him.
Alabama?
Yeah, I don't know.
Some guy named Jacob Wheeler?
From Harrison, Tennessee, of all places.
Yeah, of Harrison, yeah. He out there out on the outskirts.
Now, see, I thought Zaldane lived in Texas now, but this has got him as Nevada. Who knows?
Laughlin, Nevada.
Ain't this chick from Texas? I thought they lived in Texas. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I don't know why they moved out there. That's interesting.
That's a weird deal.
That is a weird deal. Jake Whitaker, Fairview, North Carolina, a rookie from the Northern Opens. Okay, well, we got interesting little lineup there.
Yeah. Interesting.
111.
I feel like they want to get to that 105/100 even number one of these days.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know if they're allowing the extra 11 in there. Let's face it. Some of these rookies, they don't make a check 3 or 4 deals.
Mm-hmm. They might be going away. This is not cheap to do.
And I believe we have the last ticket punched for the Classic.
Should be over and done, yeah.
Over and done. I believe his name was Ryan Butler. Won the fish off up there at Norfolk Lake.
Oh, I'm going to plug something, Matt. If you're not listening to the Bass Insider podcast, they have been doing angler stories, and it's really cool. They had Matt Herron, Matt Lee, Randy Howell, and Justin Lucas, and they kind of tell their history, their how they got there, how they wanted to get there. They're pretty cool.
Is it sort of like a 30 for 30 kind of deal, or to get a little background?
No, it's just a basic. Now the thing about it is, all those guys they've had have been right there in Alabama. They can come in studio and do it, so the audio is really good. But it's pretty good. It's a Bassmaster Insider podcast. It's a pretty good deal.
That's cool. I've seen them on there. I haven't had time to really download them.
Oh yeah, they're pretty good. They're usually about one a week. Randy Howells is pretty cool. I've heard his testimony a lot, but man, that dude doesn't have a colon. So I feel for him, man.
Yeah. Anything else going on?
That's about all. Oh, Matt, I was going to tell you, I am glad that I got the one duck nugget that had a pellet left in it. I found it nobody else did.
Yeah, you got to be careful when you bite into the nuggets.
I know. I was like, whoa, I hope that wasn't a tooth. And I spit it out, and I was like, oh, I'll take it. That looks like that looks like a little bit of steel right there.
Yeah, you got to watch your teeth on them things.
Oh, yeah.
So we got Christmas is coming up here in a couple weeks.
It is, man. It's right around the corner.
Right around the corner. I'll be going on a little duck hunt up around Reelfoot and later next week. A couple days up
There you
there.
go.
Some of our Strike King Mr. Crappie, or Strike King Crappie Pros, not Mr. Crappie, but Crappie Pros.
Well, I've got. I think next week I'm taking a day off in the middle of the week. Do a little duck hunt, man.
There you go.
I'm gonna do a before Christmas. My mom's actually coming up here to spend Christmas weekend with us, and I'm gonna try to go down there right before that, grab a couple ducks, and come back and fry them up. My duck nuggets is now my go-to recipe.
Okay, now you got to text me your recipe for that. I know buttermilk is involved.
Well, I don't know really what I did, to tell you the truth, man.
It just happened, huh?
Yeah, I soaked them in salt and all-purpose salt for a couple of days. I froze them, thawed them out, soaked them in buttermilk for 2 days. Just the meat and the buttermilk, in a covered container in the fridge. Brought them out, ran them through the milk and egg, put them in the fryer. Now, you can't overcook them because, if you overcook duck, you might as well throw it out.
Yeah.
So you got to watch it, and they get good and crispy, get that good brown. Throw them out, throw some more in. Oh, man, they were fantastic. Yeah.
I may have to do that. I got a few in the freezer here. I've kind of worked on something last year a couple times, working on with some, frying them up on a skillet with some bacon fat. It turned out pretty good. Probably not the healthiest thing in the world, but boy, it tastes good.
Now, these were just flat breast fillets diced up into nuggets. This is just breast. Nothing but breast.
That's the best way to marinate it is, unless you got an injector, it's best to dice it up and marinate it for a couple of days.
Oh, yeah. Well, I marinated the full breast, and then I cut them up.
Yeah.
And then went from there. Everybody doesn't want to hear about recipes, man. They
No,
go to the
no.
Go.
Well,
They go to the GoWild app. Get the GoWild app though, and check it out.
That's right. Well, what do you say we end it with a voicemail from our old buddy Floyd?
I heard that the other day. Yeah, fire her up.
Fire up. Here we go.
I got a response to that. What he says anyway.
Oh, see if I can get him on here. Hang on.
Uh-oh.
Let me crank up the volume. There we go.
Hey guys, Boyd from New Market. Calling in to see how y'all's week's starting off. I'm wondering when y'all are gonna get it set up to where us listeners can call in and be a part of the show live as it's happening. But anyways, just had that on my mind, thought I'd call and give this out. Y'all have a good day, good week, have a good Christmas. We'll talk at you later. God bless you. God bless America.
Yeah, I hope that came through. I have to play it on my phone.
It sounds like the phone was hitting the Yeti.
Yeah, I was trying to get it as close as I could.
Well, here's the answer to that, Floyd Newmarket. You get us some advertisers, and we'll work on that.
Yeah. We need to. I mean, we are real low budget on this thing.
Yeah.
But I would love to be able to do a live show like we used to do back in the day, and actually take calls if we could. Sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Take some
that
calls.
Would be a cool deal.
Would be
Yeah,
cool.
that would be a good deal. Well, all right, Matt. If you're ready to shut her down, shut her down.
Let's shut her down. I appreciate everybody listening. Check us out on Instagram, TOS Fishing Podcast, Twitter at The Outdoor Score, and then email us, theoutdoorscoreboard@gmail.com. Appreciate it. Check out that app. GoWild if you got the app. If you got the Apple phones, Android guys like me, got to hang on just a little longer. But I'm looking forward to giving it a try.
There you go.
Dave, I'll holler at you later.
Have a good one, man.
See ya.